I moved into my car 1 year ago, and this is what I've learned since then. So I had originally intended to film this outside the car. I got some cool shots, but the wind was really loud and kept blowing the camera over, so guess we're in here now. I also hadn't had lunch yet, so give me a second, I'll cut all of this. So if I could travel back in time 1 year to the day that I moved in, these are the things I would tell myself. So number one is going to be buy good gear. I know that good gear is expensive and it costs a lot of money, and living out of a car doesn't exactly earn top dollar. But when you can only own like one of an item and you use it literally every day, might as well get the good stuff. Sometimes it's worth spending the extra little bit of money to just make life a little easier, because a lot of life gets a lot harder living out of a car. The next thing I tell myself, lesson number 2, I guess, is to watch your health, because living out of a car can get a little unhealthy and unsanitary. And I realize I just made that sound way worse than it really is. Cooking is hard. And it's not just the cooking, right? Like, I have to find a place to keep and store my food. I have to cook it. I have to eat it. I then have to clean all the dishes that I use and put it all away. It's a huge, huge process. So I kind of just resorted to fast food for a while. I would go to McDonald's and buy off their dollar menu, and it got bad. It was very unhealthy. My solution ended up being that I would go pescatarian. So now I only eat fish and eggs as far as protein or meats go. As far as the sanitation side of things, I started with like 3 weeks worth of clothes, and I found out it just took up way too much space. So much of my living space was clothing that I had like a rooftop attic thing. I don't have it anymore because it actually flew off one day when I was driving. It was just too much weight up top. But it was just too much. Like, imagine if you had to dismantle your living room and bedroom and kitchen every time you wanted to go put a sweater on. Right now, I only keep 1 week's worth of clothing with me, which means if I don't get a chance to do laundry in that 1 week, or if something happens and I just blow through all my clothes super fast, I'm re-wearing clothes. It's the sniff test. What are we gonna do? And then hydration is always an issue. I don't have running water here. So for me to get water, I have to either buy water, which takes up tons of space, or I'm filling up my water bottle at a gas station sink just to have water. And even then I only have this much water. So I end up having like 3 of these just throughout the car, and I'll fill them all up when I can, so that way I have a more stockpiled supply of water. And then you have things like showers, right? Like, I go to Planet Fitnesses. I have a Planet Fitness Black card, which means I can go to any Planet Fitness in the world and take a shower. But what if I'm not near a Planet Fitness? Or what if they're closed? After COVID, a lot of the Planet Fitnesses went from 24/7 to regular hours-ish. And if I get done coming off a river and need a shower, sometimes I drive over there and it's no shower. The third thing I tell myself is to relax, right? Living out of a car can be very stressful sometimes, because you don't know where you're gonna sleep. You don't know what you're gonna eat. You don't know where you're staying the night. You don't have the security and privacy that you normally do out of a house. All these basic needs become a big question mark when you live out of a car. I was always stressed over stuff like that, and then trying to create content on top of it. I thought I maybe would do like a daily travel vlog, and that didn't last very long, because filming everything that you do is stressful. It's stressful when you already have bigger issues. Life will slow down, and that's part of the charm of this. Embrace that. Go explore, go hiking, go kayaking. Reading as well. I actually bought myself a Kindle so I could read instead of having like stacks and stacks of books. Overall, it's just a much slower paced lifestyle, out of necessity almost. And if you're trying to force yourself to be productive over and over and over and over again every single day, it just doesn't mesh. Which brings me to lesson number 4. And that is to get comfortable with yourself. living out of a car results in a lot of alone time. And if you're someone with no service, which, you know, for example is right here, I can't just sit there and scroll through on Facebook or anything because I don't have service. And so you're forced to sit alone with your mind and your thoughts, and that can be pretty scary for a lot of people. It was scary for me. But I think what that does is it allows you to fully discover and be aware of who you are. It also teaches you self-reliance, right? Because if something happens and you're out there on your own, you have to be able to do whatever it is to fix that problem. And while it sucks sometimes, when it's all done, the confidence, the self-confidence, the self-reliance gets built up. And it's an amazing feeling. I am by myself all the time, and it doesn't really bother me anymore. And number 5, the last big lesson I give to myself is to remember that you are living the dream. People literally dream of living in a car and traveling the world and exploring nature and being free to roam and having no bounds, having no limitations, and being able to just explore and do all this instead it literally is people's dreams. I'm reminding myself now that I am living that dream. Have fun with living out of a car. Go visit some friends. Go to places that you never would have otherwise. Try new experiences. Become who you really want to be. And the toaster has allowed me to do that. Tomorrow starts year 2, and I cannot wait to see what new adventures I may get on. So thanks for celebrating year 1 with me. And I need to get out of this really hot car because I'm sweating. So see you next time. I had to close all the doors and windows to try to block the environmental noise, but like, it's